Perhaps you have noticed that sometimes self-compassion comes with ease, and other times it feels forced or inaccessible. In this experience today, I am going to guide you through an understanding of why self-compassion is accessible in certain nervous system states and not others, and a step-by-step practice that you can engage in to support yourself in accessing the state you need so that self-compassion feels authentic. Authentic self-compassion is correlated with the nervous system state known as ventral vagal, or the social engagement system. Another way you can think of this state is that it is the system of care. And we can only access this state when we are perceiving more safety signals than danger signals. So when you feel the inner critic or an inner drill sergeant, you are in a survival state where your system is perceiving more danger signals than safety signals. And when we try to engage in self-compassion, when we are in our fight or flight, our survival system, we are doing so from within our survival system, and it doesn't work. So the first step in this process is moving through a step-by-step acknowledgement of what you are feeling as a way to create space so that you're no longer blended with the part of you that's suffering or struggling, and you access the higher self state where you have the ability to feel compassion and access to courage and wisdom. So I invite you just for a few moments to recall a recent time that you felt pulled off your center. Maybe there was some anger or sadness or agitation, or noticing that you're ruminating on a thought or stuck in resentment. And then take a moment to connect with your breath as you notice where this emotion is felt in your body. Perhaps you feel tightness around your heart or tension in your shoulders, or a lack of sensation, like you've been pulled out of your body. Now, whatever emotion or sensation you're feeling, try first to label it with the common phrase of, I am blank, your chosen emotion or sensation, as a way of identifying with what you are feeling. Just notice what that feels like when you identify in that way. And now try a little different way of labeling. I feel blank, using the same emotion to fill in that blank. Just notice how that might feel a little different. Perhaps there's a little more space around what you're feeling, a little more room for breathing. And now, as if you could take another step back, being aware that there's a part of you that is experiencing this emotion versus the whole of you. Try using the sentence, I am aware, or I notice that a part of me is feeling blank, same emotion. A part of me feels this emotion. Notice what that does to your experience. So that short experience is a way of moving from the small self or a part of you into the larger self, self with a capital S. And once we have that more spacious experience, this more spacious way of being, we can then move from the higher self back towards the small self with some self-compassion. So these next few steps are inspired by the work of Deb Dana, Kristen Neff, and Chris Germer. And the prompts that go along with them are there to support you in having an experience of self-compassion, as well as support in writing your own self-compassion reminders, so that when you feel dysregulated, in need of some nurturance, you can look at what you have written to remind yourself of the steps, because it takes practice and repetition for this to become your new way of being. Now, keep in mind that in our culture and our day and age, we are not only easily triggered into our fight or flight system, but we don't often notice and regulate our way out of it. We often stay there because it's not super obvious that we've been triggered. And so we go about our day feeling tense or angry or dissociated, breathing in a way that is keeping us locked in that nervous system state. So it actually feels for many people more familiar to be on edge, to be hypervigilant, to be up in the thinking mind. So this practice, not only does it take time, but it also can feel quite uncomfortable and scary or even dangerous for some. So it's really important to take it slow, one small step at a time, and trust that with practice and familiarity, your body will start to open up to this practice. So the steps I will move through here to give you a brief understanding of what's to come are on this page that you're seeing now. And then I'm going to guide you through an embodied experience so that you can feel it for yourself. Now, the first step when you are noticing that you are in need of some self-compassion, some nurturance, some slowing down, is to place your hands on your body or on the ground, feeling sensation of texture or groundedness, and to focus on your breath as you guide it into a smooth and soft rhythm while you feel your attuned touch. Now, this first step is important because it is supporting your shifting of nervous system states. We slow down, we feel sensation with our hands, whether it's on our body or texture that feels good around us, or again, feeling the earth. And we connect with our breath so that we're inviting in a slower, smoother rhythm. Once we feel that field of safety starting to open up, we then move into the step of mindfulness, of noticing what we're feeling in the body and acknowledging it, whether it's a state of suffering or a state of dysregulation, or simply the sensations that are the building blocks of emotions. So again, this serves as another important step of bringing in more safety signals. Right? We're noticing what we're feeling. We're curious about it. Right? If it's anger, you might be able to notice, heat or like electricity in your chest, maybe lightning bolts that feel like they're shooting up, lifting your shoulders up towards your ears, or a sense of a big heavy rock in your belly, noticing where it begins and where it ends, or a sense of numbness in your feet or legs. Right? So this step here is really about acknowledging, tracking sensation, getting to know what's going on beneath this label of suffering or emotion or dysregulation. From there, we move into the step of common humanity. And this is a really important step as we expand out of our own experience and acknowledge how normal this is in the human experience. So this is normalizing and connecting us to the collective, that everybody struggles, everybody suffers in different ways, everybody has a hard time with feeling what's uncomfortable. This is a practice that takes a lot of courage and a lot of wisdom, and it's hard. From there, we move into self-kindness, and this potentially will flow with much greater ease since we've gone through the previous steps of calming our nervous system, bringing in more safety signals, normalizing the experience. And then we open the door for even more safe, connected energy by using statements that provide more kindness towards ourselves. Now, it has been proven through many different research studies that self-compassion is really important for our health and well-being. And it actually improves our motivation and our pursuit of goals. So there are different reasons why people think self-compassion is not the best route. And I encourage you to do some research, looking up these names of Deb Dana, Kristen Neff, and Chris Germer, to recognize that self-compassion is actually a really generous, adaptive, evolutionarily supported, productive way of being. And when we can tune into this loving inner coach, we move towards our goals with much greater ease and a much lower likelihood that we will harm ourselves or others in the process. So I hope that you really recognize here that the inner critic or the inner drill sergeant is correlated to your survival system. It's not the best route for who you truly are. It's just a part of you. And if you're very familiar with those parts of you, it means you're very familiar with your survival system of the sympathetic nervous system. Yet you also have this loving inner coach, this higher self. And when we provide a safe environment and we slow down to feel our breath, that this becomes more natural and more spacious. So let's move through an experience together. Settle into your seat. Feel your body relax and supported by the earth beneath you. And perhaps you can reflect on something that you have been struggling with, something that has felt like an obstacle, a recurring struggle of some kind, whether it's a sensation or a tangible event or struggle in your life. And notice what happens as you hold it in your attention with softness and curiosity, as if you are trying to see it more clearly and give it space to be felt. Notice where you feel it in your body or how it appears for you. And with your own attuned touch and a sense of mindfulness, place your hands either on your body where you feel the sensations, or perhaps on your belly and chest, or on the ground, or a nearby texture that feels soothing. And begin to slow your breath. Feeling your belly move much more than your chest as you breathe. Perhaps it would feel okay to invite in the rhythm of an inhale that is a slow 4 to 5 seconds. A gentle hold at the top for 1 to 2 seconds. And a relaxed, enjoyable exhale for 4 to 6 seconds. As you breathe and feel sensation in your hands, your attuned touch, notice what you're feeling and use this mindfulness statement. I can feel blank in my body, and it feels like putting in the sensations there. I can feel anger in my body, or I can feel struggle, or tension, annoyance, frustration. And it feels like fire in my shoulders, tornado in my mind, prickles or sparkles, or stabbing sensation, something sharp, something with edges. Keep breathing in this slow, mindful way as you curiously track and label what you are feeling. The next step is common humanity. So now we want to acknowledge how normal this experience is. This is hard for everyone. It's messy. It's okay to take my time. This is a reparenting moment. I am supporting collective consciousness by slowing down to be in this practice of repairing what has been ruptured. We are all hardwired to react in fear and to avoid discomfort. This is hard for everyone. And lastly, we land on self-kindness. Even when I mess up or make mistakes or blend with a part of me that sabotages, even when I fill in the blank, I still love myself and I deserve to be loved. Being with suffering or difficult emotions and sensations requires courage and wisdom. It's not easy. May I remember that choosing to practice self-compassion is choosing to achieve my goals with the support of my wise inner coach versus my fear-driven inner critic or drill sergeant. And in doing so, I inspire, encourage, and support myself. May I remember my strength and resilience in this moment. May I be gentle, gracious, and breathe in a way that feels spacious. I trust that I can be with this and guide myself through this. It's okay to take my time. When you feel ready, you can open your eyes and come back out of that experience. I encourage you, before you move on with your day, to go back to the previous slides and put pen to paper as you recall what stood out from your experience, the words that really landed, any words that you would tweak to make them more resonant for you, and write out the steps so that you have them accessible to practice daily. To practice in the morning, throughout your day. And it's a beautiful practice for when you're going to sleep. And I leave you with this wonderful quote from Dr. Peter Litchfield. Optimal breathing might best be expressed by the two images which define the Japanese word for breathing: heart and self. Another way of seeing this might be heart plus self equals presence. Breathing, in other words, may be a fundamental glue that holds the self and the heart together, making possible a greater personal presence for the world, others, and ourselves. So with that, one slow, spacious, nourishing breath. And from my heart to yours, namaste.